You're listening to the Long Game Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra Scaiano. Have you ever wanted to just scrap it all, scrap whatever you're working on, the project, the program, the offer before it's even seen the light of day, or even your website? Just change it all up because this rush of feeling has come over you? Yeah, I've been feeling this way lately. And it's part of the entrepreneurial journey. As entrepreneurs, we spend so much time talking ourselves into ideas and out of rash decisions. And, the struggle is real. So this week, I'm sharing a little bit of my own scrap it all story and some ways to handle these situations and the emotions when they arise. The long game is knowing when to scrap it. You're listening to the Long Game Podcast with Sandra Scaiano. In a world where everyone is doing, it's easy to get lost in a sea of comparison, secret tricks, and promises of overnight success. The long game is my approach to business. The actual day in and day out philosophy that you have to show up, you have to do the work, and there's no quick fixes for long-term success. I'm a web designer, digital strategist, and energetic thinker, and I'm here to share the process and lessons I experience with my clients daily who are going through the same struggles of building a business as you are. We'll hear from successful entrepreneurs sharing their long game strategies, and I'm fun, so we're going to have a little fun along the way too. Thanks for being here. Let's get to today's episode. Well, I am fresh off a weekend of changing my business, folks. Big, dramatic changes. Well, in my mind, they are. And no surprise, because it's been a dramatic year for my business, one filled with new influences, ideas, and reaffirming my core values. And this in itself has been the biggest influence on me this year. So when I sat having my morning tea recently and I said, I need to scrap the whole approach to my course I'm finishing up. I need to change up some offers and I need to update my website. It was a full morning for sure. And sometimes, it happens like that in business. And, the more I reflect on it, it happens like that in my life, right? Like things bubble up under the surface until I just can't take it anymore. And then bam, instant action for change. And I'm sorry to my exes who endured this, but you might find it happens for you this way as well. But, I think for me, it's about going along with the plan that I committed to, whatever that plan is. I want to see it through. But then as you get deeper and deeper into the plan, you learn how it actually doesn't align with your core values, and you didn't know that at the start. How could you? No one or nothing reveals itself completely at the start. So when it comes to shaking things up in our businesses, although the idea can seem rash, it's probably been bubbling up under the surface for a while, but still, it's important to talk yourself off of the ledge sometimes. And I seriously had to stop myself from canceling some software in the heat of the moment. And that's the most important lesson here. Don't ignore the feelings of the change up, but don't make any sudden moves. Think things through. So I know for certain right now that my yet to be launched course is going to have a change up in its marketing. So I built out the entire funnel while I was building my course. So actually the funnel is ready and it sits there and it's waiting for the course right now. And I will just side note, learn from my mistakes, people. Just get your course done first. I know people say build it as you go. Sometimes it's good just to have it done and focus on the next thing. So I am completely releasing myself from this now, as I've fully learned this lesson. Okay, so I knew that with this course funnel, that there were things that didn't sit right with me about the funnel setup. And I just want to say, I'm in a coaching program about a particular funnel and a way of working. So, I am in this process, right? I'm in this coaching. And to give you an example of what I'm talking about, one of the things that didn't sit right with me was the whole bonus bonanza. You know this, where there are a number of bonuses offered in addition to the course. And, of course, the bonuses that I created, they really seem to make sense, right? They're great additives to the course. They address some of the objections of people buying the course, which is really a great reason to have a bonus. But there are just too many of them. And, the whole formula to offer a bunch of bonuses that equal X amount that it's not anything you've ever sold. So you're just arbitrarily giving them a price and it's all based on your course price. It isn't what I want to be doing in my business. So that's just one example to kind of bring you into the mindset of this. And, I'm big into trust the process. Like I ask people to do this with me all the time. And I have been following this coaching process to a T. And that's how I ended up with this scrap it all thoughts. There are a few things that I want to adjust in this funnel process to fit my core value approach. And that just isn't part of their process. And I have these thoughts along the way. I've thought about it and I just, kind of tucked them away. And now I'm realizing that this big, expensive process doesn't fully align with me. So the rush of scrap it all thoughts came in and, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? So first thing I did was take a step back, really be with my thoughts about this. I earmarked with it doesn't align, what doesn't align and what does and what I can keep. So I kind of started to make mental notes. All right, all of that's okay. These are the things that I really have to go. And it really goes back to one of my long game business philosophies that you can do this your own way. And for me, it has to be my own way so that it sits right with me. And I am ready to bear the load of all the success that comes with that, or if there isn't success that comes with that, right? Because once you veer off the process, then you're not doing the process anymore. So when you make it your own and you take parts out that don't sit right, you've got to bear that responsibility. But I'm ready for that. I'm completely down with that so that I feel good and in alignment with what I'm offering. And, I just want to also say that it's not that we can't learn methods that work well for others and apply them to our business. Of course we can. That's a lot of what we do. It's just that as I started peeling back the layers here, I discovered what didn't feel right. And I'm going by feels here because this is my own business. And I love being exposed to the other methods and the ideas, so that I can learn them and apply them in my own way. So through this coaching program, I've gotten exposed to a lot of great ideas. I would say 3 of them just don't work well for me, but they're crucial to the process. So, and another caveat I want to say as I was writing this out and thinking these ideas, I also want to make a note here that I am super aware of this not being a procrastination tactic. I see this with course creators all the time. We need to make some tweaks and put off our launch. They are doing that out of fear of putting themselves out there. This is different. This is the realization of alignment or misalignment, right? And with that comes a breath of fresh air. So in assessing this situation, I pushed pause, right? No rash software cancellations, no hitting delete on my entire copy or content, and you can visualize that image probably, right? The mad deleting or the mad new writing, right? It's like the cat pounding on the keyboard meme. We've all been there. And, maybe there again. But it's about not being reactionary. Instead, I'm responding thoughtfully to these ideas that have come up for me. I'm letting the ideas come and I'm accepting them. And what I'm doing practically is lining up for myself what needs to be done. I'm taking it out of my mental state and getting it down on paper, right? What is a priority of items that are going to need to be re-recorded? What needs to change? There are definitely going to be some items that I scrap and I'm going to have to re-record some things, but this is going to make it better. And I'm going to have to reevaluate even my tech stack. What am I using? What am I paying for? What tools do I want to use to get this across? And I know that my coaches will say, Sandra, you are 90% there. Keep moving forward. Don't let this, get you off track. But I am really going for a richer, more authentically me experience the whole way through. And that is going to help me be successful with what I do. And, with all of the recent things that have been happening in my visibility journey, it's shown me where people are at and what they need. And so I really want to make these shifts to be able to provide what I can. And I've come further into my own ideas of what I want to be offering and what do I want to be doing to shine a light on my work as a whole, right? Like the ideas that I'm coming up with, they're going to support my client work. They're going to support the new offers that I have, and they're going to support this course, right? Not just have that be an ancillary thing. And because of this, I'm not upset about any of this time differential or the investment that I made. I mean, this was a big year-long coaching program that I invested in. All of this helped me reach the best solution for me. And sometimes, you just know how you want to be and how you want to show up. So I will be scrapping away. And I want to share with you what I did, though, that challenged some of that immediate scrapping energy. I mentioned earlier that I had multiple items colliding at once, the course process, new offers, and my website update. So number one, I just hit pause on any rash decisions. I kept the software intact, and I'm going to be making a plan of action going forward. I left it at, I'm good with the conscious decision to make a change, but I didn't want to be scrambling in emotion. Action out of emotion, that clouds clarity. So I tabled the coursework and I shifted to my new offer. So number two, what I did was I mapped out the content and started building a page for the new offer. And this sufficed my immediate need to act in a way that was one, productive, and two, non-harming to my business as a whole. And what I mean by this is adding a page is not redesigning a new website. It's not throwing anything out. It actually put me on the path to thinking and working towards the changes that I want to be implementing to my website as a whole. So this was something I could channel my energy into and be creative and be productive and go. So I took what I may have been calling nervous energy previously, and I created something meaningful out of it. And, if I didn't have these multiple areas to be able to shift between, I would still recommend some type of break with your emotions. Take a power walk and let ideas come to you, then hop back in and write your ideas out on paper. Sketch out what stays and what goes if you have this course item, on that first emotional item, and this way you can set it down and come back to it at any point. And after, you keep processing your thoughts. So for those of you who have your offer on lock, and you're doing your life's work and all of that, kudos to you, keep staying that path and adding to it along the way. And for those of you who are still finding your way, know that it is okay. Along the way, we will question ourselves and, whether we're locked in our offers or not, we're going to question. You may want to completely redo something, and you're going to need to use your best judgment, your best unemotional judgment to confirm your next step. I knew there were about 3 major ways that I didn't agree with when it came to the marketing funnel that I was being coached to build. And again, I set thoughts aside and I kept moving, right? I was in that process. But as I neared completion, and, it really is, as I built out the next few months of my time, I hit a point where I was like, I need to schedule my time, right? I've got to make time for this change, to build these changes in. So, that really became the impetus of, what do I want to be doing here? What do I want to be putting out there? And now I'm getting ready to put it out there and I need to make some changes. So I got to schedule that in. So when you're thinking about your next few months, the plan of action, the work you need to schedule in for yourself, and, all of this affects how much client work you do or how much content work you do, all of that. So, you've got to take this into account as well as you're building. And for me, this whole puzzle of online business, like the figuring it out, for myself with my own ideas, this is what draws me to online business. And, my business doesn't have to look like someone else's. My core values may not be the same. What I like to do and how I like to serve may not be the same. And what my strengths are may not be the same. So I have to keep navigating my business with my view, as do you. And this is what building a business is all about. You are not alone on this journey. And I hope this episode helps you to feel less alone if and when these waves of scrap it all emotions rush through. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining me today. You can access more info in the show notes at thelonggamepodcast.net. If today's show connected with you in some way, please share it with your friends or hop on iTunes and leave me a review. Until next time, keep playing the long game. This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.